like you point out, has been a lot of selling really over the past year. Although I know you see this on the wholesale level and what we've talked about before, and I don't know there's a set answer, but I think it makes sense that there's a lot of people who've held silver for a long time. And when the price went $32, most of them are up ahead. And it seems, I think there's, like you mentioned, also a lot of people who are looking for cash, but I think there's probably also a lot of people that finally saw the price over 30, wanted to cash out. Either case, for whatever reason, if people wanted to sell with the price over 30, I'm sure not everyone's doing it on the same day yet. We had a couple months there. I wonder if the majority of the people who wanted to sell as soon as the price got to 30 have already done so. Obviously, the price has now come back in a couple dollars from there. So maybe that changes things. But again, it's not a clear picture. But anything you could say about signs of, do you think we've exhausted most of that selling so that the next time it gets to 30, that's already been cleared out, or anything you could share on that? And also, along with the part that you mentioned that the several of the bullion dealers are melting some of those coins and then it's being used for industrial.
Yeah, I'll get to that industrial thing at the second half of the answer, but the have we exhausted retail selling? No. Um, and the reason, you uh, retail buyers are fickle, man. It's uh, you do the opposite of what you would think would be successful from investing. When the price is surging and going higher and higher and higher, the hands get tighter and tighter and tighter, and less bullion comes out of the retail public. But so that push up past 32 a couple times over the last few months, while I think the people that are selling once it gets beyond 30 are mostly buyers in that 20 late 2020 into the silver squeeze of 21 and 22. Like you're not looking at a lot of sellers that are selling because it hit 30 that bought during the last spike back, 2011 and prior. It's recent buyers. Um, Things happen so much faster with e-trade platforms and things of that nature that the patience is way down compared to 2011. So what really pushes people to sell is not when it hits 32, but when they see it pull back from that and they think it's never going to go there again. You know, so it hits 32 a couple times and pulls back. I think it touched below 27 a little bit when the yen carry trade, blow up news hit the wire, and that's certainly not done, but at least that calmed down. But when you see that big pullback, that's actually what's encouraging people to sell. Uh, I don't know when it's exhausted. Right now, I know just kind of preparing for this, I was touching base with more local coin shop customers of mine just to kind of, you know, take the pulse. And they're still anywhere from 3-to-1 to 8-to-1 sellers to buyers in the local coin shops. I think there needs to be a distinction made also. Some of those retailers that have access to an online market that also sell online, we're not talking about that. We're talking about walk-ins that are either selling or buying. It's heavily on the sell side.
Yeah.
But new generations of buyers buy a lot more online, right? I mean, you go back to 2005, and anybody buying silver is going to have a hard time trusting an internet purchase to get it there. And somebody's going to mail me like through the mail system a box of precious metals? Like
No, I've done
that
that
seems,
before.
yeah. I mean, I have too, and probably the majority of the people listening to this podcast have at some point. But that was not the case 20 years ago, right? Most silver holders or precious metal buyers at that time uh, would not trust a system like that. But a lot more people are buying online. Online now is the point. So I don't know how much that affects or offsets the buyer side because there are more online buyers than sellers, but it's still not accommodating all the stuff that's being bought over the counter. So what they're doing, these guys are turning that stuff around, particularly 5, 10 ounce bars, anything sterling, um, anything that's really beat up, 100 ounce bars that come across the counter, stuff like that. And they're buying it at a price point, that makes it profitable to just sell it up to larger wholesalers that have their own mints that can make it into nicer retail product, or a lot of it's getting sold as shot 1,000 ounce bars, wire, plate, powder, you name it, in industrial fashion. So the industrial side is making up for that lack of buyer, and they're sucking that silver out of the retail silver customer base. And like, for example, I posted something on Twitter a while back just to kind of like give an example. Right now, see, I'll just read it. LCSs are making a living buying over the counter anywhere from $1 to $3 back a spot and selling to large wholesalers that also own refineries at anywhere from 25 cents to $1 back a spot. Those refiners make their own silver brands, but they are increasingly making industrial production as well. An example, the bid from a wholesaler to buy a Canadian silver maple is 75 cents over spot. That's what they'll buy it back at.
Right.
And their sell price is $1.35 over spot. And I know some of the people that don't have exposure to wholesale level, where you're buying tens of thousands of dollars at a time, as a precious metals business, are going to say like $1.35 over spot. Yeah, that's where it's at. For large wholesalers. Well, that's a 60-cent spread between their buy and their sell. Okay, they're moving such volume that that's profitable for them.
Yeah.
But go to their 10-ounce bars, they're buying those at 65 cents back of spot. And sterling, they're buying it considerably cheaper than that. I won't go into how they weigh that because they still do it in an antiquated penny weight like measurement. While their sale price for 500-ounce increments of silver shot is plus 25 cents. Well, that's a 90-cent spread. Now there's some manufacturing costs in there, probably around, 15 to 20 cents to make the shot out of whatever it is they're getting in, as long as it's 3/9 fine. We're not talking about the sterling conversion. You take that out, and that's a 70-cent spread. So they're making more buying 5, 10, 100-ounce bars off the street through local coin shops and turning it into shot than they are on their Canadian maples. And then that doesn't even go into, if they have a refinery in-house, which some of them do, turning it into spools of wire or 500-ounce bags of powder, or plate, some of the more detailed manufactured products. The premium on that stuff is higher than Silver Eagles. Yeah. But you have to manufacture it. Cost is significantly higher than the 20 cents to manufacture silver shot.